Hello and welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel, guys, where Barca have beaten Celta Vigo away in La Liga. This is absolutely amazing. I can't believe it. We've beaten Celta at Balaídos and we've done it, pretty comfortably in the end. I think the second half very much was a bit more controlled from Barca. The first half was quite erratic. We're going to be talking all about that. But I thought it was interesting that just a few days ago, I said on the channel, we can only play this style of play if we have a 40 goal a season number 9. Oh, hello, it's Robert Lewandowski. He scored a hat-trick. He has actually delivered what was required here. This is what you need to do to play this high line, to play this style of play. You need goals. And Lewandowski tonight delivered those in abundance. What a moment for Barca. Can it be a turning point? We're going to be talking all about the game that we've seen right here. So come on, and let's get to it. But we have to begin once again right here with a very special shout out going the way of Jesse, who is actually going to the Barca-Chelsea game in just a few weeks' time. And I'm quite glad of that, because he appears to be quite a good luck charm here on the channel there. So thank you very much for the support, my friend. And it was a really good and really important night here for Barca, because let's be honest, guys, before this game even kicked off, a real opportunity presented itself to Barca right here. Because Real Madrid, they dropped points against Rayo Vallecano there. They drew 0-0 away. I would say, by the way, it was on a significantly better pitch than what we played Rayo on, earlier on in the season. Let's just get that out there. But yeah, Real Madrid dropping 2 points, opening up that door for Barca tonight to close the gap at the top. And luckily, that's exactly what we did. Because in terms of the starting lineup tonight, guys, from Hansi Flick, obviously right now, there's not a great deal that he can do. It's not as though off the back of that shaky performance in midweek that he can really, tear things apart, that he can bring in lots of new players. We're not blessed right now with many, many different options. But I think what we did see there was a big call in the number 9 area. Lewandowski coming back into the lineup. And I think this is a big game for it. Away at Celta, it's not easy. It is going to be a bit physical at times. We saw that tonight. They did try and really get close to us, but Lewandowski really producing inside of the box with big moments indeed. And of course the first goal, it comes from a penalty. We had a helping hand from Marcos Alonso, quite literally. He did help us there to get a penalty. Fermin Lopez causing a bit of danger, causing a bit of chaos there, shooting towards goal, and it is a clear penalty. The right decision was eventually made there by VAR, and in the end, Lewandowski just about converted the penalty. I was a little bit nervous, in the build-up, in the run-up there with Lewandowski, but he did dispatch it there just about under the goalkeeper to make it 1-0 to Barca. And then, of course, guys, there was a massive chance, absolutely huge opportunity for Marcus Rashford to make it 2-0 in the game. Fermin Lopez plays a brilliant crossfield ball there, lovely weighted pass over the top of the Celta Vigo defence, and I've got to be honest, I thought Rashford was going to score. The movement is great, he takes it inside there, he sets himself, but it is a great save from the goalkeeper, and I've got to say, at that moment, I thought it was going to be a decisive one. I thought as though that was a glaring opportunity to make it 2-0 Barca, to really hurt them mentally with that kind of goal. But we failed to take it, and it was almost a direct response then. Celta literally went up the other end, and they equalised. And I think the way, again, that they equalised, guys, I don't think any of us like to see this right now. It's the same kind of goal that we've seen game in, game out over the past few weeks. That high line, it is still being exposed. It is still being breached right here. Against Celta, they haven't done anything revolutionary. It's an easy pass. It's an easy run there from inside their own half. Celta break out. And it's just extraordinary that you've got this much space here to advance into. The player that scores, he's not particularly quick. He actually takes a horrific touch, right before he gets to the box. But he's in so much room, it doesn't even matter. You don't even have to do anything good to get a goal at the end of this there. And I think Szczesny, to be perfectly honest with you, should do a bit better there on the finish. I don't think there was a huge amount of power on it there. It is at a height that he could maybe get to. But Celta immediately equalising in the game. And you were thinking, okay, Can Barca bounce back? Because yet again, there were more big chances for Barca in front of goal. And it was interesting, actually, because we had 3 golden opportunities in the space of a few seconds there. Fermin inside the box, the ball is bouncing. It looks to be a certain goal, but it's a wonderful, wonderful block to deny him in the end. Rashford then, off the back of that chance, he smacks one against the post. The rebound falls to Robert Lewandowski, who again is just denied by the goalkeeper. So Barca were causing Celta a few problems. And our second goal comes from a moment of magic out wide here from Marcus Rashford, and this is something that we do continue to see here, him providing goals, getting assists onto the board, and the way that he does this is brilliant. He actually cuts back inside there, he can see the movement well, he can understand what's coming there from Lewandowski, whips a wonderful ball in. This is inviting the finish, and it's wonderfully timed as well from Lewandowski. I thought actually when that ball went in, is it going to be offside, is it going to be ruled out, but he times this to perfection, and once he gets on the end of it, he's so close to goal that any sort of contact, it's going to go in. It actually goes in the end through the goalkeeper's leg. So Barca taking the lead again, but I think there was always that feeling in this game, especially in the first half, that when Barca did score, when we did take the lead, when we were ahead in the game, it was almost a question of, well, how long is this going to last? You know, Celta, they're probably going to score, they're probably going to have chances, and unfortunately, it's the high line again. Now, it's interesting. This goal, though, it's in a different way. Because Celta, they do breach the high line. They do get in behind. But this time, Barca actually make their way back. They recover the ground. They get players back there into their own area. But the other problem with the high line is, because you're so desperate to get back, to recover all of that space that you've given up, you're desperate there to get back to your own penalty area to try and stop the play, you then leave an enormous space right on the edge of your own box. That's what we saw right here tonight. We left in a massive, massive gap for Borja Iglesias, who's got all the time in the world there to receive the pass from Jutla. He's in acres of room, and yet the finish, it's phenomenal. But look at the time that he has there to pick his spot, to place it, to set himself. That is not good there. Again, it's bad, bad defending. It is not being aware of what's around you. It's not being prepared, not being organised defensively. Celta undid us once again, and it looked as though going into half-time, it was going to be 2-2. However, guys, Lamine Yamal had other ideas, because yet again, it's Rashford down the left-hand side. Again, he's causing danger. He's got his head up. He's looking to put that ball into a dangerous area. He puts it right across the box there, and in the end, he's not aiming for Yamal. You know, it's not a direct assist there in the way that he just picked him out, but the ball makes its way there. If you put it into a dangerous zone, anything can happen. You can get deflections. You can get players there trying to make clearances. In the end, it finds Yamal actually here on his right foot, which is pretty rare for Yamal. Maybe the goalkeeper's not expecting it because he's able to score from that angle. And I think it is in the end quite poor goalkeeping. But like I say, I think he maybe wasn't expecting Yamal to get the shot off that quickly. Good goal from Yamal. Back-to-back games now that he has scored in. And that was crucial. That was an absolutely massive goal in this game there. Because going half-time at 3-2 Barca, I think maybe the game deserved to be tied. I thought, we had a few chances, but so did Celta. They did breach the back line. We did look a bit shaky at times. So I think, to be honest, 2-2 at half-time, that would have been probably the way the game went. That would have been pretty much deserved. So I think for Barca to almost steal that goal right at the end of the half, to really hit Celta where it hurts, and Yamal the man to do it. Love the celebration as well. Good to see a smile on his face. Barca going in with the lead. And the second half, like I say, for me, it was a lot more control. We played it a lot more on our terms. Because throughout the second half, I did think it was maybe, Barca looking to build upon what they had, but at the same time, not taking extraordinary amounts of risk there in our play. Celta were bringing on a number of substitutions. They were trying to change things in the game. I will admit that when Aspas came on, I started to panic. I was breaking out in a cold sweat, but luckily in the end, nothing happened with Aspas, so that is absolutely fantastic news for us. But yeah, in the end, we got the fourth goal. And again, it's Lewandowski. It's Rashford. We've seen these corners from Rashford be very, very dangerous. Clearly, it's things there they're working on the training ground. He whips one in. It's Lewandowski who makes his way to the near post. And it's a wonderful header, this. He just flicks it on, and you know where he's aiming that. Lewandowski here, this is no accident. He's been around long enough here to absolutely place that ball into the far corner. It's a wonderful header. It's a majestic hat-trick tonight from Lewandowski. It is exactly exactly what Barca needed. You know, a big number 9 performance at a big time to rescue us. Even when we still conceded 2 goals, you know, it wasn't perfect tonight. It wasn't really too good defensively, but we have bailed ourselves out with goals tonight. Yamal could have even made it 5 on the night for Barca. He was through on goal there. I thought that was going to go in. That cannoned off the post there. And I guess you'd say, you know, the one disappointing thing, De Jong's red card at the end of the game. I thought De Jong tonight, by the way, had a really, really good game. Very composed, very controlled on the ball. I thought the referee, to be honest, he was desperate to send him off. That's the way that it seemed here. Because you look at this second yellow here from De Jong, it's not malicious. You know, he doesn't mean to stamp down there on the ankle, on the foot. It's just, you know, putting your foot somewhere. At the end of the day, you know, the foot's going to come down somewhere. It comes down very slightly out of where it needs to be. But that, for me, that's a really, really harsh second yellow card. And to send him off for that, you know, I think the referee couldn't wait to get that second yellow card out of his pocket, guys. But can I just say tonight, thinking about the emotions that we've been going through, the relief for Barca fans, you know, finally getting a win, a big one away at Balaidos. I think what really sums up the emotions are these two young Barca fans tonight. They're in the crowd at Balaidos, and when that Lewandowski goal went in, they really couldn't believe it there. They were overcome with joy. They were absolutely loving it out there tonight, guys. And I've got to say, I'm just happy to go into the break with a win. You know, we needed something to cling on to. We needed some hope now. We should improve. We're going to get players back. Things hopefully will start to look more positive here now at Barca. And we have closed the gap at the top to Real Madrid now. It's only 3 points. You know, 3 points is all that it is at this stage of the season. And I still believe they are not convincing either, guys. So please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below here tonight. What did you make of Barca's display? What did you make of the goals that we scored? What did you make of the goals that we conceded? Let me know all those comments down below. I will see you soon with lots more coming up, of course. Enjoy the rest of your night. But until next time, as always, Vesga, El Barça.